Yo, can you hear me? You listening to
WAW. What a week.
What a week.
Welcome to another edition of Wow, What a Week. So, our part of the world has gotten quite wet and cold these past few days, but our guests today could very likely excite and warm up parts of your anatomy, from your ears to, well, sections below. Are you curious? Keep it connected and join us. Welcome back to Wow, What a Week.
This is What a Week.
What a week. This kid really kicks.
Welcome to This Kid Really Kicks Ass, where we spotlight people under the age of 35 that we find interesting. Now, many participants in the culinary world can get you salivating just by looking at what they do. Our next guest, who is from that arena, has proved that she's able to get people's juices flowing in more ways than one. Proving that to make an omelette, you've got to break a few eggs or barriers. Everyone, sip your tea, don't mind the sugar, and please give a wow welcome to the creator of Cooking with Nonsi, Kilelo Numalo. Hello, Nonsi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good, and I see people are wearing jackets, but outside it's very warm.
Is it? No, but also where now you live in Finland,
Yes.
where in winter I would die. So this cold weather that we're dealing with for Wena, it's like a nice warm day in Finland, right?
Of course, it's a beautiful weather.
You were nervous when we met. Why? Like you were like very, very nervous when we met.
I think even now a bit, because I don't know if it's a perfect word if I say I love you. And yeah, I don't believe that I'm here with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to pinch myself when I go home. Even when I woke up, I was not nervous about being interviewed,
Sure.
but just that it's you, it's different. But
Do I say thank you?
I don't know.
Or do we bring out the chicken and the cucumber and do a lesson in the kitchen? Now, before we talk about Cooking with Nonsi, talking about your social media fame, let's go back to childhood. Pregnant in grade 11. What happened there?
It was my first time having a sexual intercourse.
So you got pregnant the first time?
Yes.
Yo.
And it was actually not even in the house. It was
Sure.
in the back of the room, because we were at my friend's house and we were not committed in a relationship. We were more of a friends. And on that day, I was curious. And the father of my first child is quite older than me, so he was more experienced.
Sure.
Maybe we did it 2 minutes. And after a month, I didn't see my period. The second month, I just understood that I was pregnant. Yeah, and at first, some of my friends said I should do abortion, and I went through with it too. We even booked an appointment. However, we were very late, and we thought that we were going to book for the next day.
Sure.
But through that night, I just felt like I would just drop out of school and continue with the pregnancy, which I did. I didn't go to school for like 3 months.
Sure.
And after that, I was very smart. I think I'm still smart. The teachers will see me and say, "Why did you stop?" And I will tell them I'm pregnant. They begged me to come back, and I went back at grade 11,
Sure.
and I passed. And right now, my son is 14 years old, amazing, beautiful boy.
Sure.
And I'm happy I kept him.
Why was it important for you to go back and complete high school?
Because I grew up without my parents. And I grew up with my grandmother, and was very rough when I was growing up.
Sure.
I've always knew that education is something that no one can take away from me. And working hard as well.
Sure.
So I had to go back to school, and I was so proud. In my family, I was the first one to have matric to complete. Yes, and it was a big achievement. It still is until today. Yeah, so I'm still proud of myself. I went for it.
And then in your early 20s, you meet a Finnish man. How do you bump into this older dude from Finland?
I had friends that were were dating or seeing or fooling around with international people. Yes, and I worked in some restaurant where I met my ex-husband, and we spent maybe 3 days with him, and then he went back to Finland. After that, he asked me to visit. I applied for visa for 3 times for a year.
Sure.
But he was looking after me financially at the time. And then we saw that we couldn't get the visa, so we just decided that we get married.
Hey, man, just like
Yeah, we discussed it, but at first he didn't pay any lobola or anything. We just went to Home Affairs. I didn't even tell anyone, my family, just my 2 friends who were witnesses at the Home Affairs. Then I went overseas.
Sure.
But what made me want to go there was that education was for free, and at that time my parents, or people that were my parents, which is my grandmother at the time, couldn't afford to pay for college, and I had my matric. So I was like, why not? Education is free. And my ex-husband was financially okay.
Sure.
Then I went there.
dating an older man, the pros and the cons.
Yes.
Because what, he was 49, you were early 20s?
Yeah, I think I was 22.
22.
Yes.
Pros and cons of dating older or marrying older.
He was not my first older guy.
Okay.
When I was 19 years old, I dated a 63-year-old.
Why?
I met the first older man when I was with my friends at the restaurant. There was one friend who was working at the gallery, and I don't know if I should call him ex-boyfriend because he's so old. My ex-partner.
Your ex-grandfather.
my ex-partner, I should say like that. He went to buy some painting.
Sure.
And then the shop was about to be closed. So the friend came with him to us to have some coffee. We were sitting at the restaurant. And my friends were always saying I was more darker. So I was more bullied when I was growing up that I was ugly.
Sure.
Because the friends that I had, they were more light skinned. And I was so used to it. And they used to say that I should be chomped the head because the body was good. Now I have kids. I think still okay. But I think it was more better.
Sure.
And he didn't like that my friends kept on saying I was a Nigerian and I was too dark. And he actually said, I think she's the one that is more beautiful than everyone here.
Sure.
And then he said he would like to see me. I did shrink and freak out because he was very tall and you could see that he was very old. But one of my friends said, we can visit you.
Sure.
So she was older than me. We both went to Tlhluwe. He had a surgery and he lived in Tlhluwe, but he was from Poland.
Sure.
He was a Polish. So we went to Tlhluwe, and of course he just treated us very well because we have our own room, he have his own room. But then it became a relationship. I was already pregnant, but that time I didn't know I was pregnant.
Okay.
It was the hardest relationship because I had to hide the pregnancy. I would shrink my stomach. But then also he had so much money, he even built my home, which it was one of the things that was difficult to just walk away because he was older and we were very poor at home. We didn't even have a nice building. So he built and was giving my grandmother and my grandmother and grandfather money. They also accepted him. He was actually older than my grandmother and he was and my grandfather. The first time I went with him.
Like I said, your ex-grandfather.
Yeah. Kind of. When I was walking with him, I always felt like I was looking like a gold digger, you know. I was so short, he was so tall.
In fact, that was my next question. Like, what do you say to the side of the room that feels that younger, especially black girls with older, rich white men are gold digging? What do you say to that?
Right now, as matured as I am, I just say that there isn't a word that I know some people will argue with this, but there is no gold digger. I just feel like a man that says a woman is a gold digger is a man that cannot afford that woman. Because men can say that I don't want a woman who smoke, who doesn't drink. I want a woman who's like this, like that. A woman also can have preferences and say, I want a man that is rich and I don't care how old he is. So it's a matter of if you can afford the woman, you can, but if you can't, you can't. I wouldn't say it's gold digging.
Sure.
Yeah, because I wasn't gold digging, but the gold was coming to me. So
You dig? Is there not an awkwardness when you're watching a guy that old taking his clothes off?
When it doesn't look the same, especially down there.
Yeah.
Because, for an example, the first one, and I would like to respect my ex-husband and not say so much,
Sure.
you know.